7 o'clock, bud?
It is now 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Everybody, please rise for the first town board meeting in 2024. Let's do the 2024. I started in 2020. Okay. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Councilmember Totino?
Present.
Supervisor Albra?
Here.
Councilmember Foreman?
Here.
Councilmember Rye?
Here.
Okay. I do have one amendment in the consent agenda just for wording. You guys okay moving it when I get to that spot to make that amendment?
What is
Not, it's, title is just wrong. It's supposed to be sergeant, not detective sergeant.
Yeah, I read that.
That's it.
Yeah.
We'll make that motion when I get down to it.
Okay.
Next up, acceptance of minutes, town board regular meeting December 6th. Everybody okay with that? Present that as a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Introduction of new employees. Highway Superintendent Istvan, how you doing, sir?
All right.
It feels a little weird being on this side of the podium. Good evening, everybody. I got a couple things to report. First of all, I just want to let you know that all the employees at the highway have been working very hard preparing for the snowstorm that's coming up on Saturday. We have all the trucks ready. We have about 20 pieces of equipment ready to go. We have a strategy. We have a plan. The guys have been excellent. So we're excited. We're looking about 6 to 10 inches of snow, so all the residents be prepared.
Wow.
Start time is between 7 and 9 p.m. on Saturday, ending around 1 to 3 p.m. on Sunday, about 18 hours of snow. So be ready. It's a long one, but we're ready to go and prepared. Thank you for letting me announce today we do have 2 new employees. First, I want to introduce Nate Dean. He's a seasonal motor equipment operator, seasonal snow plower, and I want to introduce you to him as one of the candidates. Nate?
Come on up. Just share with the residents of Fishkill who you are, where you're from, what you want to do.
First off, my name is Nate Dean. I grew up in Beacon. I'm 31 years of age. I'd like to thank you guys for having me and Carmine for the opportunity. I work with my father. We do Dean Pool and landscaping. We build in-ground pools, pavers, everything, and I'm just looking for an opportunity for the winter.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate
Glad
it.
you're here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You good?
Cool.
Welcome.
And second, yeah, he's little Nate, we're going to call him. Second, I want to introduce my confidential secretary, which I like to call my administrator. Kevin McCarthy, he has a bachelor's degree. He's going to be a great asset to the town as my confidential secretary. He ran a union shop previously, very similar kind of business. I look forward to working with him. He's the last day, 2 days he's been there, has been fantastic. And I want to introduce Kevin McCarthy, please.
Hey guys, sorry I just ran over from the wreck. All right, so got all my years here. This is the first time I've been at this podium, so I know pretty much all of you on the panel or whatever you call it. Congratulations to everybody on their elections. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for helping me these first couple days. My name's Kevin McCarthy. My wife and I first moved to Fishkill 18 years ago now, and we've raised our family here. We've got 2 boys. As Carmine alluded to, after college, I went to school to become a social worker, but my wife and I decided one of us needed a paycheck, so I went into construction management, and for the better part of 15 years, I ran a local one-union plumbing shop in the Bronx, a large-scale plumbing shop, about $12 million in sales a year, and the duties I did there and my responsibilities there in large part reflect what I'm currently doing in the highway department. I've been there the past couple days learning the ropes. And as you all know, I've been very involved in Fishkill since we moved up here. So be it on the PTA, be it in Little League board, soccer board, local politics. So this position's given me a chance to kind of do the 2 things I like, be involved in my community and construction management. So I look forward to working with Carmine, working for Carmine, working for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome aboard.
Town Board, everybody, thank you. Hopefully you won't see me too often.
All right. Thank you, Carmine.
Bring cookies next time.
Yeah.
If you wear that vest, though, we won't be able to miss you.
Joe, your turn.
My name is Joe Perrone. I moved to Fishkill also 18 years ago with my wife and 3 children. They went to school here. I went to SUNY College. I have a bachelor's degree. I ran my own business for about 22 years online sales. Before that, I'm a retired police officer. And I'm honored to be serving the residents of Fishkill, my fellow residents, so I thank everybody for that.
Where were you an officer?
In Orange County,
Okay,
so in town of Walk Hill.
okay. Yeah, good, awesome. And you go to Gold's Gym, and I see you there.
Yes, and actually, no, Nate, how are you, Nate, all right? Okay, good.
Very good, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Okay. Next up is approval of the floor for general town items. Anybody wish to speak about anything regarding the town of Fishkill, this is the opportunity to do so. Unbelievable. Okay. Next up is liaison member reports. Brian?
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. I know we're going to get off to a great start here. And my theme is, yes, we can have disagreements, but let's just keep it low-key. And I want to just run through a couple of things real quick. And I hope I brought a description. I know Arnold Restivo, our historian, and I have been talking here recently. And I know he sent us an email, and there's a really fantastic bicentennial of Lafayette's farewell tour, which is beginning this year and will end in September in town of Fishkill. And so be on the lookout for that event as it becomes organized and apparent, and that'll be fun for us to be involved in, I know. And that's a pretty major thrust of the fun things we're going to be working on, are things historical. And I know we're going to be excited about that, the 250th especially. I did attend the Fishkill Historical Society Holiday Open House, speaking of which, and I was asked to read The Night Before Christmas, several days after Christmas, but it was fun to read The Night Before Christmas with all the little kids that were there, and it was an honor, and I appreciated it, and people should be getting involved with the Historical Society. I'm just going to say that. I did go by to see outgoing Superintendent Glenn Schofield. It really is amazing to say those words, outgoing, because of his time here. I know we said thank you here at the board. We misspelled his first name on his plaque.
Yeah, the ends. I got the bottom one right. The top
Yeah,
one, yeah.
oh God, we had one end, not 2 ends. How did we do that? But we love you, Glenn, and we appreciate him so much, and I was visited with him on his very last day. It was just really terrific to spend some time with him, and I told him that he's not going away. I'll be calling on him in the near future. Our swearing in that we just had, it just is so meaningful in a lot of ways. It's a new beginning. I think we had a wonderful, wonderful ceremony. Once again, Kim Albra and Lisa Isfan organized it, and we really, really appreciate them. And it's just great to have Greg Totino on board. I've had the privilege of speaking with him recently a couple of times, and I know we're going to work well together. And he's just, everybody knows Greg. He's just going to be terrific, and it's really great to see you. Now, a couple of things. I'll bring this item up under new business later, and also I want to talk about this under new business later, and that is signage, good signage for inside town hall. We cannot have printed out pieces of paper taped to a door saying this is the office of. We got to have professional looking signage, and I've been working on that, but we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. That's all I've got.
John?
Okay, welcome everybody, and I hope everybody had a happy new year. I feel like I need to clear up a couple things from our meeting from December the 20th. At our last meeting on December 20th, our former colleague, Louise Danielle, once again made several accusations, misrepresentations, and a couple of final parting shots directed at me. Regarding the property at Sylvan Lake, my parents bought into this property over 50 years ago. My mother wanted a mobile home, so they purchased one. The mobile home that is located at the Sylvan Lake property is and continues to be owned by the estate of Dolores Foreman. It has not been my place of residence for over 2.5 years now. Louise is free to say whatever she wants, but the truth is, I am and continue to be a resident at 4 Overlook Court, despite Louise's objections. Just because Louise believes I reside at Sylvan Lake doesn't mean it's true. The neighbor to my left is Steve Pagonis, and to the right is Tom and Pat Nips. Kim Arkarian lives right across the street from where I reside. Brian Saltish, principal at Roundabout Middle School, lives a stone's throw away on Briarwood. And Judge Raich also lives a few doors down on Old Castle Point Road. Supervisor Albra, during his listening tour, even stopped by and met with my landlord. Seems to me the only person that doesn't think I reside at 4 Overlook Court is Louise. Louise mentioned a conflict she believes I have at the last meeting regarding Continental Commons. It's important to note that the most recent Fishkill Town Board, made up of Ozzie, Louise, Carmine, Brian, and myself, only took one vote regarding Continental Commons, and that was on an order from a New York State Supreme Court judge to extend the Blodgett Water District to include the Continental Commons property. The check that was mentioned, I believe an amount of $250, was for a campaign I was running in either 2011 or 2012, 12 or 13 years ago. And it was for a seat that represented the city of Beacon, nothing to do with the town of Fishkill. But if you listen to Louise or even Keith Riley, they both would have you think that I received a check 2 weeks before we were going to take a vote on this board. It's absolutely not the case. Thank you.
Carmine. Greg.
Come back, Carmine.
Okay, that was your free pass. As I have not been given any liaison assignments yet, I don't have any reports there, but I would just like to take a moment to thank the residents of the town of Fishkill for entrusting me with this responsibility. I recognize it as such. It is one that I take very seriously. In my time in government, having worked for Supervisor Elber and the town board over the past few years, I've learned quite a lot about the business that the board does, and for that reason, I'm confident that I can work well in a partnership with the supervisor and my fellow councilman. Brian, I thank you for your words of welcome. And all I can really say is that I'm very much looking forward to getting to work. So what's next?
Good, good. Welcome aboard. All I have to say is we're working on the next batch of Hometown Hero banners. We got about 10 spots left. Anybody that has a loved one that's a hero, please come to Town Hall by Friday and let us know, fill out the application, and we're going to start the process of putting up at least another 90 throughout the town of Fishkill.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
Because you just reminded me that you and I and Virgil Capillari, our Veterans Committee Chair, met and had a very, very positive meeting on their being involved going forward. Different items that we discussed, one of which will be they're coming forth with recommendations to expand the memorial park out here. So it was a very good meeting, and I enjoyed that, and so did Virgil. And I know our veterans are going to appreciate being more and more involved, so thank you for
Yeah,
that.
so what we've done is we've gone through the list to make sure people are still interested, and then once we start getting the checks in, the photocopy, we're going to need some of the veteran supporters to come in and help us out with that.
That's right.
So that's
I know
coming soon.
That
I'll let you know.
good thing.
All right. No presentations, discussion. First one, discussion of resolution to establish standard workday for employees. That's routine. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next one, discussion to designate delegate, alternate delegate to the Association of Towns in New York State 2024 annual meeting. I think, Brian, you wanted to do that?
Yes, I am.
You're good?
Right, and who's this?
As delegate.
I'll be delegate.
Brian's delegate. I have to put this paperwork in tomorrow, that's what, okay.
There's two of them.
There's an alternate?
Greg, you going?
I'd be honored.
Greg will be the alternate?
Greg is the alternate.
You okay with that?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you
Okay.
guys. I'll get the paperwork filled out and to AOT
Okay.
by the end of the week.
All right. Next up is discussion of resolution to approve town clerk and tax receiver contracts for 2024. Everybody okay with that?
Good.
Yes.
Number 4, discussion of resolution to authorize membership and dues for the Association of Towns, 2024. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next up, discussion of resolution to appoint Ann Legoy to zoning board. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
I have a
Stop.
question. Will the candidate come up and answer, or is that later on in the meeting?
You spoke the first time when you got appointed to the board, correct? I don't think I've ever asked somebody that got reappointed to do that.
All right, so I have a question.
You, absolutely.
So, I guess my question for Ann is, are you familiar with a Mid-Hudson News article? Headline, Fishkill approves 18th century colonial village. Under the Keep Fishkill Beautiful Facebook account, and the very first comment was from an Ann LaGoy. So I'm asking if that was you.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Is that it?
No.
Okay.
You are a,
Can I just?
Come to the podium.
Does this have
Come to the
anything
podium.
do with the zoning board?
Yeah.
appointment? Okay. Because I don't see anybody else. I come to those meetings
And
prepared.
let's finish, and if it's in, we'll work it. Go
do you
on.
mind if I read what you wrote?
Anybody can go online and read it.
Okay. What a disgrace.
Yep,
Fishkill Town really screwed this up multiple times over many years.
yep.
There are still many approvals needed by the county, but the town planning board has approved for them to start construction anyway. Shame on every single member of the planning board who voted yes. This doomed to fail project will be another dead zone at the gateway into Fishkill. The shame goes further back than that, of course. There were many politicians along the way that facilitated this situation. The developer owns Speedway as well. This entire compound should be boycotted. So, do you have any comments about what you wrote?
Is that your question?
That's one of them.
I stand by what I said.
Okay. You are a candidate for reappointment as an alternate to the Town of Fishkill Zoning Board of Appeals. When residents or investors appear before this board, it's because they want to do something with their property that does not conform with the current zoning laws. They appear in front of this board because they seek guidance or some type of relief. And here you are advocating to boycott one of the small businesses located here in town. It's hard enough for small businesses to keep their doors open. I don't think we really need a member of our zoning board to hurt our small businesses. And by the way, the developer does not own Speedway, as you listed in your comments.
I can make that correction, but I stand by what I said. And as far as being on the zoning board and being able to make proper decisions and discussions, let's look at this as a whole. I've taken the training, which until questioned, myself and only one other board member took that New York State required training, including the chair. I come prepared to the meetings, I read everything, I have discussion. I've actually had discussions on both ways regarding different amendments, not amendments, it's, people are asking for approvals, larger signs, signs on a different facing wall. So I think that if anyone wants to go back and watch the meetings, I remain impartial, not to mention, I've never been arrested. So I think I have a pretty good standing record. Again, I attend all the meetings since I've been appointed. I've been trained. I'm impartial. I've had intelligent discussion. Is there something in particular at one of the meetings that stands out to you?
No, that Facebook post jumped out at me.
It should jump out at you. It should jump out at everybody. And I stand by that.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question?
No, you're free to exercise your First Amendment rights.
Thank you.
And there's a significant.
I appreciate that.
There's a significant portion of the residents of the town of Fishkill who agree with you.
Thank you.
That's a fact.
That's right, Supervisor. I don't think that anyone should be disqualified based on expressing their personal opinions. We need to be able to recognize a person's official actions, separate them from any personal opinions that they hold. In this case, I think Ms. LaGoy has shown a very good ability to separate her personal feelings on any particular matters from her responsibilities to adjudicate fairly.
Thank you. All right, next up, anybody, same thing, 9006, discussion of resolution to reappoint Isabel to the zoning board. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Next one is to appoint Mr. Khan. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Next up is discussion of resolution to appoint energy suppliers based on recommendation of the energy consultant. This is a yearly thing. Olympia handles this. Everybody okay with this?
Sure.
Next up is resolution to appoint consultant Berger engineering and surveying. We used him as a conflict last year, so might as well keep him. Good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up is number 10, discussion of resolution abandon obsolete highway let me read this one better. Number 10, ID 9109, discussion of resolution abandoning the obsolete highway superintendent cell phone and phone number. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Good?
Just so people know what that means, just a little bit of info. It's a phone that is old, it's out of warranty, it's useless. He has, I guess, a lot of family and friends that call him on it, and he's leaving the department, as we all know, and we just said, sure, he wanted to keep it, and we had no problem with it.
Yeah, it's an old flip-top phone, he needs it. All right, number 11, discussion of term limits and the impact of the state law regarding even numbered year elections. Over the last several months, I've seen municipalities in Westchester and Rockland, people have questioned their term limit laws. I just want to know if it's okay to have Mr. Gaba just to make sure we did our term limit law right. I believe we did, but I'd like to get an opinion from him that we did the referendum and all that other stuff to make sure it's perfect. And then number 2, what is the impact? The governor just passed a law that the next election is going to be 3 years, and what is that impact within the term limit law?
Well, pardon me, the law actually doesn't say that the next terms are going to be 3 years. All they did in the law was, in far as towns go, is change the wording to say that elections shall be held on the Tuesday next succeeding the first Monday in November on even-numbered years. It used to say odd-numbered years, and now it says even-numbered years. And what that means is that the last odd-yeared election will be 2025, because every election that comes up from now on will have to be in even-numbered years.
Got it.
Okay? So 2025 will be the last odd-yeared election. If people sitting now have a term that expires before the next even-yeared election after that, it'll be 2026 for people who have 2-year terms. I guess it'd be 2028, people who have 4-year terms. There'll be a special election for a 1-year term. Then that'll roll over to the regular 2-year or 4-year term after that.
Well,
I'm perfectly confused.
yeah, I'm 100% confused. So me and Brian just got reelected.
Yes.
Instead of that young man over there.
So we got 4 years.
Yes.
The next election is what, a 1-year term?
After that, because let me make sure I have this right now. Your term begins in 2024, so you'll be in 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. 2027, you or someone else will run for that seat again, okay? But
Yes.
it'll be for a 1-year term, special election for a 1-year term.
That's a 1-year term.
Right, and then in 2028, there'll be another election for the same seat, but for the full 4 years. Yeah, I know it's brutal, but my understanding is that's the way that it works.
Unless there's a court case that kicks it out, but who knows?
Well, we'll
That's not
look
gonna
into that, but for the time being, this is what it is.
Maybe-
I will look into the proper.
So it's not a 3-year term. It'll be a 1-year special term,
Yes,
and then it'll be a full 4-year term after that.
that's
So,
right.
so the 1 year doesn't count in
Term limits.
term limits?
It does not. Your code's very specific
4
on that.
years.
Anything less than a full term doesn't count.
Understood.
Now, Steve, for the seats which are up for election in 2025, just for instance, the town clerk, I believe, is up in 2025, as is Councilman Foreman, would they also be running for a 1-year term in 2025 and then again in '26?
I believe that's the case, yes.
Oh, jeez. That stinks.
What about, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Well, it's not disgusting, it's just,
No, it is.
Although I'm not sure about that last one. Let me be clear about that. It may be, since that's the last odd-year election, that it's for the full term, and then after that, there's a 1-year election to get you caught up, and then after that, a full term.
but you're certain that it's a 1-year term regardless?
Yes, one way or another, sooner or later, there's going to be a 1-year term to catch you up.
All right, so please, so this is 2 parts, so just make sure our term limit law is accurate and holds the, court proof.
I'll prepare a memo and circulate to the
Yeah, because people have called me up and asked me.
Oh, yeah, it's very confusing. I
Yeah.
completely understand.
There was a Rockland County supervisor and a mayor of Yonkers were able to use a technicality to get around their term limit laws, and I do not want that to happen here.
Well, it doesn't apply to cities and villages, so if it's the mayor of Yonkers, it probably wouldn't apply to him anyway.
I think it was town of Harrison.
Well, town would, yeah.
Yeah,
But there's
town.
weird provisions in it. If you have a coterminous town and village,
Yeah.
then they.
Let's just worry about Fishkill. Just want to make sure we're solid here. And the second thing with the term, the 1 year thing, when you get more information, just bring it to our attention.
I will.
Thank you. That's all I had on that. So you can just give us a memo, Steve will just give us a memo so we can close this one out. Just close it. Next up is a discussion of stop signs on Merritt Boulevard. We had a fatality there. The residents want a stop sign there. And up on, I believe it's Creekside or Barrington, I'm not exactly sure. You guys okay with voting to do stop signs up on Merritt?
Well, I absolutely wouldn't do everything possible to keep it safe along there. I know it turns into the Indy 500 at rush hour, morning and evening. When you said the residents want it, have you heard from a lot? I mean,
Yes.
what have you heard?
I've heard from, when the lady died, I went to go pay my respects to the family, and, there was at least 75 residents in that area talking to me, and those were
Okay.
things that was brought up.
Well, that's good. And I'm very sorry, once again, for that family's loss, no doubt. There's a question which was posed to me. We have the authority in the town to make these decisions on where stop signs go, not the highway department, correct?
That is correct, but you're going to want to get the recommendation of the highway superintendent before you put up stop signs.
Yeah, Carmine's okay with this.
Yeah, okay.
I spoke to Carmine about this already. And we might have a few more in the future.
We're good.
We have to vote on parking signs too, like no parking. We do that here too. Highway super just can't put those up?
My recollection is that everything's done by local law as far as your stop signs. I could be wrong, you may have amended.
I meant
it
like
to-
a no parking sign. Those are included too?
No, everything, if you want to.
Anything with a sign?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. You okay with me doing this for the resolution at the next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Greg?
Absolutely.
So,
I'm not sure if it's by resolution or local law. I got to go back and
I
check.
think we previously changed the
I
local
think
law.
so too, but I just don't
'Cause
remember.
I think you did a stop sign for us somewhere.
Do you remember, Becky?
You've done stop sign local laws for us.
I think so.
It was my understanding we always had to do, since I've been in office,
Okay.
a local law to place any stop signs.
Right.
But I think we changed that to allow just
That
the,
I don't.
I remember if we did or we talked about it, but
so we're looking to put stop signs at Merritt and Vanderbilt. And I believe Merritt and Creeks,
Bennington?
Bennington is the big thing up in the hill, right?
Yeah.
In Bennington. Bennington, Bennington. So those two spots on Merritt.
all right. Well, if somebody could send me an email, eastbound, westbound, which
Well,
corner.
Joe, we're working on it tomorrow, so make that on the list, identify it and send it to
Put
Mr.
together what we need to
Gaba
put
exactly
together.
where we want it. That's a nice south-north street. So we'll prepare that. Now, everybody okay with hiring Mr. Dean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Privilege of the floor for agenda items. Anything about the agenda you can speak about now?
How you doing? My name's Ronaldo Pistolesi. I reside in Fishkill for 50 years now. I just have something quick to say to Councilman Foreman. He's quick to sit there and attack former councilwoman Daniele. I think you could, about where you reside and everything else, I think you could put this all to rest, but maybe just providing a lease of where you reside. And that's all I got to say.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, next up is the consent agenda. I just need to amend item number 35 to remove detective sergeant and leave it as a sergeant. That's between 221 and 222. It's on the EAP thing, they just have all the names of all the employees of the town.
And that was the only thing that's.
That's the only thing I found wrong.
Was stuck in
Yep.
there, right?
Yep.
All right, you, sir.
So make a motion to amend the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we're on to the regular resolutions. The first one is to appoint Mr. Khan as zoning board of appeals alternate. Now therefore be resolved, the town board as follows. All whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein as referenced, those set forth in full. The town board hereby appoints Mr. Khan as zoning board appeals alternate member to the term beginning January 1st, 2024 and expiring December 31st, 2024. The town clerk shall notify Mr. Khan of such appointment and direct that he take the oath of office within 30 days of the date of this resolution. I'll present this as a motion. Can I have a second?
Sir, before you second that, I would just like to note that the last name Khan is misspelled throughout.
How is it spelled?
It is Khan. And the resolution should be,
All right, hold on a second.
that's typographical only.
Khan.
It's just a note so that it can be corrected within the
So
software.
I'll make a motion to amend this resolution to improve his, to have his proper spelling. King, Henry, Adam, Nancy. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to accept the resolution as amended. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing that. Next up is resolution to appoint Ms. LaGoy as zoning board of appeals alternate. Now therefore be resolved by the town board as follows. All whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference as those set forth in full. Section 2, the town board hereby appoints Ms. LaGoy as zoning board of appeals alternate member to the term beginning January 1st, 2024 and expiring December 31st, 2024. Section 3, the town clerk shall notify Ms. LaGoy of such appointment and direct that she take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution. I'll present it as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
3-1. John? Okay. We got here. Last one is the resolution to affirm appointments for certain positions of 2024. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill appoints the following personnel at a rate of pay not to exceed that set forth in the 2024 budget. You want me to read all the names or just the resolved?
I would like to read all names, and I
Okay.
Have a
Deborah Colonna, Secretary to the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. Kevin McCarthy, Secretary to the Highway Superintendent. Joseph Perone, Confidential Secretary to the Supervisor. Catherine Bonetta, Receiver of Taxes and Assessments. Cooper Leatherwood, Deputy Receiver of Taxes and Assessments. Cooper Leatherwood, Deputy Town Clerk. Sharon Mitchell, Controller. Rebecca Tompkins, Deputy Receiver of Taxes and Assessments. Cooper Leatherwood, Register of Vital Certificates. Paul Scatino, Police Lieutenant. Patrick Cadden, Police Lieutenant. Craig Wood, Police Lieutenant. Harold Brilliant, Deputy Supervisor. April Panessa, Animal Control Officer. Catherine Bonetta, Deputy Town Clerk. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Fishkill acknowledges the Justice Court appointments of the following clerks. Brenda Dennehy, Clerk to the Justice Court Clerk, and Danielle Quattrochi, Court Clerk. Be it resolved that the Town Board authorizes supervisor to sign any documents requiring to certify any of the appointments defined herein. So before I put it up for a vote, Brian, you want to say something?
I'd like to make a motion
Go on.
to amend that resolution
Okay.
to add Keith Dworkin, Fishkill Town Police Chief.
You need a second?
second.
Roll call vote?
Can we discuss it first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a glaring omission, and I just find it a bit concerning. There have been observations going back quite a number of years of, I think, maltreatment and a number of other things when it comes to the police department. This is an organization of 43 cops, 59 total staff. It has an annual budget this year of 3.3 million and change. And we don't see the chief named, and we know he can be reappointed by holdover, but the omission is saying something, and I think it's incorrect. I will tell you that I've asked the chief to document for me what he's been doing with his time since he became chief. And this may take a few minutes, so I ask you to bear with me. Operations, there are a couple of categories: community policing and grants. Operations, and this is a gentleman that's making how much a year? 59 and change? 49 and change?
I'm sorry, what?
How much is he making a year? 49,000 change? I've read that.
We have him as, the chief, I believe, is budgeted for 46,000, but he's limited to 35,000 because of the state law.
Right, so,
But he made a big deal about that before. He's budgeted for it.
right. So, in 2020, developed the Town of Fishkill's Police Reform Plan and presented it to the Police Advisory Council, which was adopted and implemented in 2020 as displayed on the Police Department website. In 2022, New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services required all police agencies in New York State to meet new hiring standards and decertification reporting requirements per Professional Policing Act of 2021. To meet these requirements, developed and implemented new employee interview procedure. And I have gone over this procedure with him, and it is rather extensive. So we know in this town that we have great cops that were coming on board in a continual unfortunate rolling shortage. But he's doing everything he can to bring on, through this policy, really high-quality individuals, and to continue comprehensive and newly revised background investigation policy and procedure, background investigation guide for reporting, background investigation packet, personal history statement, conditional offer of employment, gained authorization of the Office of Mental Health to access the state's database when conducting background investigations. In 23, for the first time, the Department of History brought all department personnel in compliance with Criminal Justice Information Services, CJIS requirements. In 23, drafted policy and procedure to meet New York State's new standards for filing of extreme risk protection orders, which were not provided by Lexipol. In 2019, the Department Records Management System became outdated and was no longer supported. January 2020 transitioned the department to a new RMS and oversaw training of all police personnel. 2019 revitalized the department's social media accounts. Facebook has grown from 1,900 followers to 9,680 followers in just 4 years. All social media accounts are now monitored and updated regularly, which I monitor, and it's amazing how much the police have going on. And I know they have a lot of followers, and we see all of their community and other activities, which include private community forum town residents. In 2020, drafted a new outline, design, and completely revised the police department website, which now meets New York State standards, including weekly blotter, weekly arrests, annual crime stats, PD tips, anonymous complaints, which we know we're going to be working with the police on one of my initiatives. Forms, documents, department history, hiring information, complete revision of department policy and procedure manual, 76% complete, spearheaded and partially funded complete upgrade of, and this is a guy that's not making a lot of money, that works overtime for free for the town. Spearheaded and partially funded complete upgrade of town hall and police department identification and security system. Budgeted and implemented the replacement and upgrade of video surveillance cameras equipment for the entire town campus. Researched and implemented new department-wide scheduling software program live December 2023. Researched and implemented the new training tracker software program, which records and maintains all training-related records. Initiated participation in the E-Trace program, allows investigators access to track illegal firearms in state database. Community policing, very big part right here, revitalizing important interaction between officers and the community, and need for expanded community policing services. Designed, adopted, approved, implemented the following programs. Designed, adopted, and improved and implemented. Internet Exchange Zone. Are You OK Senior Program, which is very important to this town, and a lot of seniors rely on that. Special Needs Assistant Program, Registry for Autistic or Special Needs Residents. A very, very sensitive program indeed. Internship program, very important. Created domestic violence unit, provides follow-up on resources for victims of domestic violence. Unfortunately, every town needs that, but we certainly have a program. Started annual Toys for Tots program in 2019. I went this year. Can't believe the quantity of toys that our police department collected and gave out over multiple days to kids. It was a beautiful thing. Started the annual No Shave November program in 2019. Collects funds for local cancer organizations. Started the annual National Night Out program in 2022. I think people who have participated in that the first year, but certainly the second year, it was so well done, and it was just like going to the county fair, but you didn't have to leave Fishkill. Develop partnership with the National Child Safety Council in 2023. Partner with Blodgett Memorial Library to host Coffee with a Cop. I've been to those. It's amazing how well participated with kids, and also participated with Blodgett Memorial Library books and badges. That's another great program, and they get a lot of participation. Establish Police Department's first traffic enforcement unit. We want to hire a traffic cop. I proposed, and we got in the budget, a traffic cop. We've got to beef up our police force and not and do anything so we can get finally a traffic cop. Collaborating with Wappinger Central School District to provide a school security officer Monday through Friday at local elementary school. And this is a position, once we get staffed up, that'll be completely funded by Wappinger Central. We don't pay a dime for that, and we know, unfortunately, that we need to have a cop at schools these days. Drug take-back disposal program, receptacle located in police lobby. Created a Carfax for police account, and collaborated with Carfax to generate annual revenue for printed release of police accident reports. This collaboration allows the department free access to their motor vehicle records and investigation tools. Created a LexisNexis account and collaborated with LexisNexis to generate annual revenue for printed release of police accident reports. I had a past life where I was a paralegal. Can you believe that? And I know you're impressed. So LexisNexis is a pretty dynamic little online research capabilities. I'll tell you, this collaboration allows the department free access to their command center solution software. Soon we're going to be using my expanded neighborhood watch program. And I'm just about to wrap it up, but let's just talk about grants. I know Greg met with the chief while he was still under your employee supervisor, and helped to kick off the process for finding $600,000 for body-worn camera grants. And you know the recent email of everything step by step by step by step by step, where he has gotten us to close to getting that money, which will be awarded. But how about 10,450 bulletproof vest partnership grant? How about 6,800 and change Perma Lexipol policy reimbursement grant? 2,300 Carfax revenue, LexisNexis revenue, law enforcement technology grant pending, 50,000, and pending the body camera, 600,000. So if somebody doesn't think our chief and our department are not working for this town and doing everything they can to make it make it a safe town. And one of the goals that I have certainly is engaging this very important department within this town, talking with them, seeing how we can engage and work better going forward. And certainly the whole morale question, we don't want to go back
The what?
to morale.
What about morale?
Morale was pretty disintegrated.
It's worse now, Mr. Rye.
Okay, I don't know about that. I really don't think so.
The individuals that benefited from the town taxpayers' largesse feel real good, not so much the other ones.
I don't know what that even means right
Well,
now
think
when I'm
about it.
talking about, all the improvements that's been going on. What my point is that you are clearly making a statement by omitting his name right here, and I don't think that that's a professional way of going about conducting management and oversight, because that's a personal statement you made by that omission.
Nothing personal.
And it's extremely personal.
Nothing personal.
It has been observed, and I'm just going to disagree.
Nothing
with-
personal.
I disagree with you 100% because
I disagree
I've
with
been
you.
around here for 2 years and I've observed a lot.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is we get a lot of bang for the buck out of this chief, and I think that we have got to be on guard about just working better together. And how about having a meeting with the chief? Did you have a meeting? I'm just going to ask you in general, and I'm not trying to pick a fight, but the last budget that we had, the chief submits a budget, it gets whacked, and you never had a conversation with him about him. It's only the police department. They're only he only puts up things that he feels he needs for the department. Granted, it's a give and take. Granted, you're the executive head of this town. There's no doubt about it. But you just Don't meet with him about these things. I'm asking you to please open up and let's have meetings with our chief more and more and include them in. And I think that I'm just pointing this out, and I took the time to do this, and it's the last item. And pardon me for taking up a lot of time, but it's just very important, and that's all I've got to say.
John?
I'll certainly be more brief. The people who I talk to around the county all believe that we have one of the best chiefs in Dutchess County. We also have the leadership team with our 3 lieutenants who all have a ton of experience under their belt. And we have a feeder program with our cadet program. This isn't Mayberry anymore, okay? And I agree with Brian. You're sending a signal by not reappointing them. I think it's unless there's 3 votes to reappoint them. I just think it's I just think it's wrong. That's it.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman?
Well, Brian, I thank you for the list of the chief's professional accomplishments, and I don't think anyone at the table here wishes to try and take any of that away. I would just like to say that it's my personal opinion that any self-respecting police chief anywhere in this country would engage in initiatives like that, and that's not a mark of exceptionalism, but rather a mark of basic competence. So,
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that people need to know what he's been doing with his time.
And
I'm not saying pin a rose on him. I'm just saying the man's been working for this town.
And again, I don't doubt that. I've had the chance, working for the supervisor for several years, to see some of the chief's work, to collaborate with him, as you pointed out, on the $600,000 that the supervisor's office pursued for the body cameras. But there are, in my opinion, 2 very important aspects of service. One is your professional accomplishments, of which you've named many, and then there is your professional conduct. I personally have sat here at this dais, quietly over there, on a number of times where I've observed the chief of police to be belligerent, aggressive, argumentative, and flatly disrespectful to the people who he works for. And I know that the motto of the police department is to protect and serve, and the officers do that. But the chief of police works for this board. He serves at the pleasure of this board. Some of the things which I've heard the chief say to members of this board, both past and present, are, in my opinion, unacceptable. Now, I have no intention of removing the chief from his position. As you have mentioned, he has accomplished quite a bit professionally. I am not satisfied with his conduct. I have, in the last few months, been on the receiving end of some of that conduct. I had to deal with stories in the press coming out 2 weeks before an election that tried to make Supervisor Albra and I look rather incompetent on the $600,000, which, were it not for the supervisor and myself, the chief would never have had an opportunity to let sit on the table for 8 months without acting on.
Correct.
2 days after that story came out, I offered him my hand at a town board meeting, and he publicly refused to shake it. Now, my father went to West Point, and he told me that if a room contains your mortal enemy, you walk into it, you look him straight in the eye, as would any self-respecting man, and you offer him your hand. I'm disappointed. The chief and I have always gotten along, I thought. And I was very disappointed with that conduct. I have no intention of removing him. But I would like his omission and my vote, which I intend not to add him to this list. I'd like that to at least serve as a reminder and perhaps a wake-up call of the fact that what he does in his office and what he does when he faces the public at these town board meetings and the way that he addresses the people to whom he answers should both be reflective of the title that he holds. And I sincerely hope that I'll have a chance to speak to him personally, put anything that has taken place in the past behind us, and move forward. And I have a very open mind, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's up to this year, and if he does an excellent job, I will be the first person to sit at this microphone and tell him that.
So, respectfully, I have observed that as well, that he has been argumentative, but I have also observed, and I think the town has observed, and the town can go back to the videotape in many, many meetings where he has presented himself for commentary and presented himself on any number of subjects where he's been assaulted verbally from members of this board. These are facts. So there is that which you have said, and I think the guy was a little hot and heated a couple of times. There's no doubt about it. I didn't like that, you know. I don't condone that, and that's certainly not the way. But I think that it was a result of having reached the threshold. So here, because I took the time to read all this, basically what I'm trying to point out is that we do have a good chief, and that I think that the board and the chief can address these issues in personality and otherwise, come together and just move forward. And that's what I'm hoping we can do.
All right. Public safety is my #1 concern for the residents of Fishkill. As Councilman Foreman just said a moment ago, we're not Mayberry anymore. I'm in charge of the entire town of Fishkill, all the departments. 4 years later, my first meeting in 2024, I can tell you every single department has gotten better except one, the police department. I don't think there's been improvements, not enough to justify to the citizens of Fishkill. So I want to move on this. I want to go in a different direction. In future meetings, I'm going to ask the town board, I think we should hire a full-time police chief, and that we should start move toward a full-time police department to protect the citizens of Fishkill. We are not Mayberry anymore, like Councilman Foreman said. It's time to go from a part-time police department to a full-time accredited agency. That's what the citizens of Fishkill deserve, and that's where I want to go with this. And I'll be mentioning this in the future, and that's all I have to say on that.
You're talking about a big ticket issue. You can't just make that kind of thing as if like, okay, yeah, let's go full-time, without understanding the budgetary impact. So that's got to be thought out, thought through, and maybe that's where we need to go, but we're talking about a whole different structure. We're talking about
we cannot keep
budgeting,
going. Since
a lot more money.
Since I've been in office, we allocated another 3 officers. We're close to 50 part-time cops. Another 10 years, it'll be 60. It'll be another 2 lieutenants, another 4 sergeants, another 3 detectives. It's coming, right now, we're the equivalent of the Italian army during World War II. It's getting ridiculous. So we need to think about the public safety, what's better for the citizens of Fishkill, and what's better for the citizens of Fishkill is a full-time police chief taking us into a full-time direction with an accredited agency. That's what the citizens of Fishkill deserve. And I certainly talked to thousands upon thousands of people last year, and they are for a full-time police department, I can tell you that.
And I totally understand that, and protection is what the citizens of this town need. We're on the same page.
All right, so
there's no difference. We got to take it slow when we come to this and understand what we're talking about. So,
but the first part is
good discussion will happen.
We'll have that discussion, and when I put it on the agenda to discuss, the way you build that is to get somebody in there as a full-time police chief, that's civil service approved, and we build. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is not the lieutenants, the sergeants, and detectives. We put an ad in the paper, we can get 100 people for those positions. The problem is the patrol officer. The patrol is the backbone of the police department, and we can never, ever get a full staffing of our patrol officers. And it might be a quasi-part-time, full-time. What's that?
They come and go.
They come and go. Everybody acknowledges that. So we might have to have, there's other departments that have part-time and full-time. But I think our biggest problem is the patrol staff, and we got to build that up, and maybe we can have part-time sergeants and part-time detectives. But the patrol staff, we have to build up to be full-time, and in order to do that, we need a full-time police chief.
Well, you know, again, we're going to be discussing that and see exactly what you mean, and maybe this is what you're doing by omitting his name, is setting that up. However, you know, obviously we want to keep the town protected. This is a main goal of mine, you know, and all of ours, there's no doubt about it. But, you know, we have somebody that has accomplished a great deal, and I just think that we need to be working together more. I've seen it on both sides up here, and I think it can happen. Do you mind passing this to Becky, please, so it goes into the record?
Thank you. So you wanted to make a motion to amend this?
I made a motion, it was seconded.
Second it? Roll call vote?
Councilmember Totino?
Nay.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes?
Supervisor Albro?
No. Motion fails.
So now you move on to the motion to approve the.
Yep. Now we're going to make the resolution for this one. for the rest of everybody that's on the list. Be it further resolved that be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes supervisors to sign any documents required to certify any of the appointments defined herein. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, unanimous. No items for special consideration. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll make a motion to allow former Councilwoman Daniels to speak. Can I have a second?
Second.
A roll call vote?
Councilmember Totino?
Aye.
Councilmember Foreman?
Aye.
Councilmember Rye?
Aye.
Supervisor Alborough?
Aye.
Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it. Happy New Year. I tried to get here quicker, but as you know, there's traffic on 52. When I sat home and watched how Anne LaGoy was spoken to and that the decision was made because of her opinion, her free speech opinion about something, I was disgusted. So I had to get in the car and come down here and say how disappointed I am that a council member would actually say no to somebody because of their opinion of something that they're entitled to. So it's very apparent watching and listening to what Councilmember Foreman said that you work for the developer. You don't work for the people in the town. You work for the developer and specifically Mr. Broccoli, because what was said earlier, you forgot to mention the part where your family owns everything at Sylvan Lake and your partner is Mr. Broccoli's cousin. So everything that I've mentioned at prior board meetings is true. No matter how much you want to say I'm wrong, you have not proven it. You do not own the house that you live in. You do not pay rent to the house that you live in. You do not pay a Central Hudson bill. And if you do, I would really love for you to prove it to the residents. Show us the lease, but you continue not to show the lease. The money that you took years ago, $250, like I said at the last meeting, was at a request of Mr. Broccoli's cousin that he donate money to you. It doesn't matter if it's yesterday or 10 years ago. He's your family business partner. So he donated money then. Of course you're not going to forget who he is. Of course you're not going to forget who his cousin is. So when the vote comes up and you fail to tell everybody in the residence that you have that conflict of interest, it's disgusting. It truly is, that you think it's okay to just say and do whatever you want to. And the vote that you voted on was a very important vote. That was a vote to say that we would appeal or not appeal the water and sewer decision. The decision that was made by the judge, who I'm not sure if your brother worked for or not. You know, I haven't officially heard that, but I don't know if it's true or not. But the fact is, you are not transparent. You have not proven that you live in this town. It's disgraceful to not reappoint Anne LaGoy. She's a true legal resident of this town and has done everything she can to come and support everything. She's been on the comprehensive plan committee. She has been on the zoning board and done a very good job. I've actually heard developers and people in the audience comment on the questions that she asked, that they thought that they were very respectful and intelligent. So it just continues to show how your blatant disregard for the citizens and the people that want to represent them is you. You know, you do not represent the people.
Thank you, Louise.
Thank you.
Next up is new and old business. Brian, you said you want to do something?
Well, you know, we've got great staff, we've got great people, we've got a great building. It's time to come up with 21st century signage, you know, and not have things just basically taped to doors. So with the permission of this board, what I'd like to do is have a Poughkeepsie-based company. I don't have the information with me tonight, but I've taken the liberty of looking around to see who does these professional signs for buildings such as ours. There is a company in Poughkeepsie, they do great ones. He can come down, work with people, get a look, get a feel, and understand what needs, and then come up with a proposal and see if we like it. Does that?
Yeah, that's fine, but just remember, anything over 1,500, we have to have 3 bids. So just if it's under 1,500.
Okay, it's going to be over that, so we'll work on that then.
Then there's going to have a price comparison.
Yeah,
and
I
we
understand.
don't have to take the lowest bid, but there has to be a reason why we take the other one. Some guy might just have paper signs, and one guy might have some, you know.
I understand. So maybe a first step would be just to get some artistic renderings so we can have printouts and take a look at them, so you get an idea of what that is before we spend time and investigate. But I think you'll agree it'll be a good look for the building. And plus, the main thing too is they don't come up to Becky's window and go, so where do I go to do this? Where do I go to do that? There'll be signs leading our good citizens to where they need to go. And that's a fair thing to do. Just moving along, new business. Again, we're going to be doing this agreement, supervisor, as you know, for the 250th with Historical Society. Michael Koropian will be working, and he has got a mock-up of this thing. Once we get things in order, I think he should come in and show the mock-up.
Give a presentation, absolutely.
Give a presentation. And we have a volunteer, landscape architect volunteering to redesign the whole thing. There's just so many things behind the scenes that we've been working on, waiting for this moment to sign this agreement, so then we can begin this process. It's going to be very exciting. We've already touched on the veterans thing. I would like to discuss the fact that I have had discussions with Dutchess County Office of Information Services. They manage the eGov, and they also have built new web pages for towns and villages throughout Dutchess County. They can do an assessment of our needs for a web page, because we need to come into this century, with a web page look. But here they do it for towns. There's talking with Greg, I don't think we have to worry about going out to bid potentially, because they are a government entity working with towns, and so they can look, they can assess, they can give a presentation, and then they can give a budget dollar amount for next year's budget on this whole thing.
On a website.
Website. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I think that, yes, it's going to be important to get the eGov back out there, because people do miss it, and there are tons of people all over the place. But I would think that we can work together to really develop a policy that, we're even-handed in this thing. And I think it's time to allow board members to have, the board members' corner, whatever we want to call it, where board members can also participate and talk with our constituents via the eGov.
I've went through a bunch of supervisors' emails throughout the state of New York, and most of them call it the supervisor's email, not like how we do it. We're probably, in my commitment to open government, I've included the board members into this process. But most towns, the eGov system is run totally by the town supervisor. It's called, most of them call supervisors' addresses or emails or messages, and I see very few with even any town board members even speaking on them. What we do here in the town of Fishkill is very unique. We include all the board members, and we do a lot more than is required. Mr. Gaba, is that pretty much accurate?
That's absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
You got to keep these things reasonably streamlined. I'm not saying that there isn't room for some small contribution, but if you start making this, one page from everybody on the board.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
But what I'm saying is that everywhere else, it's just the supervisor, and it's only the supervisor on the eGovs. Here in the town of Fishkill, everybody gets to be on it. And I don't see anybody in New York State doing what we do already. My commitment from open government is very strong. I want the citizens to know my board members. I want them, when you say I want a full-time chief and then you say no to me, I want them to tell you it's a good idea. I want them to know your face. I want them to know your face. I want them to know your face. This is why I put you guys on the eGovs.
Nobody said no to anything, because we have a discussion, so don't plant that seed.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is go pick a town and look at it. It's all supervisor 100% of the time. Here, everybody gets to participate, and that's my commitment to open government. So I think we do a good job.
I think so, and let's just see if it can be tweaked, that's all. And I don't want it to be lengthy, because no one wants to read long. You don't read my emails when they're really long to you. You tell me that, and I understand. Brevity is better, there's no doubt about it. So anyway, let's just be open to tweaks, that's all. So those are my new business thoughts.
John, anything?
Nope.
Go.
I don't have any new business yet.
Okay.
Just looking forward to getting up to stuff and introducing things.
Okay, well, I want to, at the next agenda, Cooper, just put a discussion item, 250th anniversary celebration. I want to start pumping this up.
We got to get you and Carmine to sign that thing,
Sign what?
the agreement,
The tree thing?
Historical Society.
Has to be approved by
Kiss-
the town board. We
Yeah.
have to have a resolution on everything when we get it back from,
So
When is that coming?
approve first before signing, or signing and then approve?
approved, then signed.
Approve, then sign.
Once the historical society says they're good with it, then the town board can approve it.
Well, they have said that they're good with it, and Carmine wants to sign it, but we need to approve it.
Yes.
Okay.
Around
Well,
for
we
next
need to get
meeting.
that on the agenda then.
Well, talk to Carmine.
Yeah. No, he's ready to go.
So who has the resolution?
We need a resolution.
Mr. Gavin would have to write a resolution.
Can,
I have not heard that they're good with it yet. If they're good with it, I can prepare a resolution we'll have for the next meeting.
So Brian,
Carmine has told me, because I've talked with them, that they are good with it, and he asked them to wait to sign it when he became chairman of the board, which he is
Yes.
now.
They can't sign it yet. Need a resolution.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm answering the question, are they good with it? They are. So let's just get it on the agenda. Let's just do it.
Next meeting.
We'll pass it, and then you guys sign it.
okay.
You know?
So Cooper, what is that, that's agreement? 17th, what is that, an agreement for the sword? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, which the final version is what Mr. Gaba has, you know, and can email.
Provide a memo explaining it to the board, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be no problem.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, that's the only thing I have. I want to start amping up this 250th. Next town board meeting is January 17th. There is no executive session. I make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
God bless everybody. All right.
God bless.
We're done.
68 minutes.